بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه والتابعين. اللهم اجعل اجتماعنا هذا اجتماعا مرحوما، اللهم اجعل تفرقنا من بعده تفرقا معصوما، اللهم لا تجعل فينا ولا بيننا ولا منا شقيا ولا مرحوما برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. So inshallah this will be our first class on the Tafseer in Action Part 2, and Tafseer in Action Part 2 is going to be focusing on the first 5 surahs that were revealed in the Qur'an. Those of you who managed to come to or to attend the khutbah of this Friday, second khutbah this Friday and the first khutbah last Friday, you would recognize, that's fine, Jazakallah khair. You would recognize that we mentioned 5 surahs. That's not 5, that's 4. So 5 surahs, and they were, the first one was Iqra al-Alaq, that's easy. Second one was Noon wal-Qalami wa ma yasturun. Third one was Al-Muzzammil. Third one was Muddathir. And then the last one, the fifth one was Al-Masad. Tabbat yada abi lahabin wa tab. So I'm not going to repeat the khutbah, so those of you who did not hear it, they can hear. Actually, today's khutbah was a bit different than the one last Friday, but they both have mentioned the 5 surahs. I would recommend the one of last Friday because that one had the like some of the themes of each of the surahs, which actually constitute the general theme that the Qur'an came up with in the first revelations. And that's exactly the reason that I'm choosing those 5 first surahs that were revealed in the Qur'an to cover them all together is because the message that they have delivered at the time when Qur'an was first revealed to Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, at the time when the people were so much away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, at the time when those who used to devote themselves to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala were very, very, very few in number, and majority of the people were just involved, heavily involved in this dunya and in their worldly life. And so the first revelations that have equipped Rasulullah ﷺ with the da'wah, the instrument that he was able to make the da'wah with, which actually have motivated the Sahaba radiallahu anhum to get around Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and do what they have done in their time, that was the revelations, the first revelations of Qur'an. And we want that very same message to, inshallah, energize us during this time when majority of people have gone astray, or maybe they are so much involved in their worldly life that we want, inshallah, to revive our spirit, revive our religion, revive our connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in such a way that at least it would remind us with how Sahaba radiallahu anhum were reminded and were revived in their spirit in their time with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Any questions so far? Okay, great, excellent. So inshallah, yes. Sisters have question? Okay, seems like there's some whispering going on in the masjid. Let's see where this is coming from. I don't hear whispering. From outside? Okay, alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. I was worried that it might be from the sister's side or from the brother's side, but it seems from outside. Okay. طيب. So let's start, inshallah, with Surat Al-Alaq. And I want to start with a hadith that was narrated in Sahih al-Bukhari, and actually in Musnad Imam Ahmad. And this is a hadith that part of it was in Sahih Bukhari and other places. And the hadith is very well known about Aisha radiallahu anha wa ardaha. Are we all good, inshallah? Sisters, are we all good? No whispering? Are we all good? Okay, so the hadith says, Aisha narrated radiallahu anha, she said, أول ما بدأ به رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من الوحي الرؤيا الصادقة في النوم. So the very first thing that Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم has got from the revelation was the dreams of truth, الرؤيا الصادقة. Dreams that came from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not any dream. And when it says ru'ya sadiqa, truthful dreams, it means that those were dreams that in the daytime they will be translated as is. Can you imagine? Like, for example, you might see, for example, in your dream something that is happening, and then you wake up and you see the exact thing is happening in front of you, just like how you saw it. Dreams are never like that. Usually dreams cannot be matched by reality for the most part. Maybe sometimes it happens, but when dreams are always truthful, that's what is called ar-ru'a sadiqa, and the most famous people of this are the prophets. So the very first thing that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ realized was ar-ru'ya sadiqa. That was before he became a messenger. So that was the very first preparation for becoming a prophet. Okay. So she said, فَكَانَ لَا يَرَى رُؤْيَا إِلَّا جَاءَتْ مِثْلَ فَلَقِ الصُّبْحِ. So he would never see a dream except that he will see it as is during the daytime. And how she would know about this? He would see a dream, he would tell Khadija radiallahu anha, who was his wife at that time, and then they will all be surprised to see it as is, translated as is. ثُمَّ حُبِّبَ إِلَيْهِ الْخَلَاء. When that has happened, and he sallallahu alayhi wasallam, by the way, he was a follower of the Hanif religion, which is the religion of Ibrahim alayhi salam. So the religion of Ibrahim alayhi salam during that time was in its authentic form, which is worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the messenger was Ibrahim, and there was suhuf, what do we call suhuf? The sheets of Ibrahim. And they had all the commands and the guidance, just like Qur'an they had Suhuf Ibrahim, and for the followers of Ibrahim alayhi salam. So it was reported in the authentic ahadith that he sallallahu alayhi wasallam never prostrated to an idol, never in his life. When did he become a prophet? At the age of 40. So in his past 40 years, since birth until he became a prophet, until he became 40 years old, he never prostrated to an idol. He never went to a party that involved drinking or singing or dancing. Can you imagine? It was narrated in the Sunnah, in the Seerah, that he sallallahu alaihi wasallam was invited to a party that involved dancing, drinking, and music 3 times in his life. One, he has refused. Second, he was sick. Third one, he was pushed so much hard to attend it, and he was like, okay, maybe I can attend just so that I don't get blamed. And he overslept, and he missed it. So 3 times. And not a single time he attended a gathering that had music, or had dancing, or had drinking. So in his entire life, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, never prostrated to an idol, never participated in those gatherings that had munkar in them. And you can imagine, subhanallah, yarhamkallah ibni, you can imagine how much of purity this person had when he never in his whole life made a haram. Okay, so that's So I mentioned first, he never prostrated to an idol. Second, he never participated in any party that involved music or dancing or drinking. Now the third one is actually more important. He never exposed his private parts, never. In the day of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, it was a habit that people will get naked during the time of tawaf. You know tawaf? While they go around Kaaba, it was a practice. It was a common practice. Everyone would do tawaf, they get naked. They will do it naked. Wal-iyadhu billah. It was a practice. And he sallallahu alayhi wasallam never did it. And it was reported in Sirah that one time some people tried to push him to take off his clothes, and as they were trying to push him, the clothes were going up or back again to their place, and even though he could not really defeat himself or defeat them or help himself from them, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has protected him in a way or another. And everyone witnessed that, and they said that we never saw his private parts exposed, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that all of these, just to give you what it means to be a prophet. A prophet means someone who is so pure, not only in his akhlaq, in his knowledge, in his intention, but even in his own body, from the day one all the way until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes his soul, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So after he started to get those dreams, and they were all truthful, he started to go into what is called khala. Khala means to get by himself alone and practice what is called at-tahannuth. Tahannuth or ta'abbud means that you devote yourself to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, just like how you do in your i'tikaf. Anyone remembers i'tikaf? Perhaps no one of us has done true i'tikaf. True i'tikaf means that you sit in the masjid, you don't talk to others, and you just think of yourself. You think of, you read Qur'an, you think of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, remember Allah, and you spend the whole day and night doing this. You don't get interrupted by anyone. You don't get to talk to your neighbor. You don't get to say, oh, I'm tired, let me just relax now. No. That is total devotion. That's called i'tikaf. When we do i'tikaf here, unfortunately, it's like a sleeping over. You get your food and drink, and you don't forget your iPhone, and you have all the nice anashid, and you have your company, and if your friend goes to another masjid, you complain and you say, no, you either come to my masjid or I go to your masjid, because after all, it is no more i'tikaf. What it is in reality, it is more of a having fun time. Last year I told them I don't want this type of i'tikaf because it is actually defeating, or it is actually changing the whole purpose of i'tikaf. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive all of us. So anyways, Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to make that i'tikaf where in Ghar Hira. And that's, Ghar Hira is that a cave in the mountain in Mecca. Anyone went to Ghar Hira? Anyone? Have you been able to go all the way up? Allahu Akbar. You're such a strong man. Because I went with my kids thinking that I can make it. And I was only able to drive up to the extent that the car was able to take me there. But then after the car dropped me off, and he said, oh, you have to go all the way up. And I'm like, okay, I can see it from distance, that's all. So 4 times. Not recently. Okay, yeah, I can tell. I'm not sure if you can do it now. If you can do it now, take me with you, Jazakallah khair. So Ghar Hira is too far up. It's like, I don't know if it is more than a kilometer, but that's after you go through like the car until the furthest point where your car cannot go any further. At that point in time, you have to go up about another mile, and it's walking on on the mountain. We saw some goats going up, And my kids were like, let's follow the goats. They forgot about Ghar Hira, and they went after the goats, but they were not able to even catch them. Anyway, so he sallallahu alaihi wasallam would go to that Ghar Hira, and he would spend the number of nights there doing what is called the tahannuth or ta'abbud. Then he would go back to Khadija radiallahu anha. He would stay with Khadija for a few nights. He would take some enough food and dress that will help him during the next time he would stay in Ghar Hira, and then he will repeat that again and will go to Ghar Hira and spend a couple of nights. Until that one day, as he was devoting himself to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he was following the religion of Ibrahim al-Hanif alayhi salam. So as he was there, the angel Jibreel alayhi salam descended upon him, and that's when we all know the story that when he asked him, Iqra, read. And wallahu alam, the ulama have interpreted that as there was something that Jibreel have asked him to read from. And that's why Rasulullah said, Ma ana biqari, that I'm not someone who can read, right? So he was not rejecting it, but he was explaining himself that how would you ask me to read when I'm not, I didn't even learn how to read. And you know that the question was repeated 3 times, and every time he ﷺ would say, Ma ana biqari. And then Jibreel squeezed him in a very strong way, and then it was the first revelation, Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq, by the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one who creates. Now, Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq, it could be interpreted in 2 ways, and both are correct. Either that you start reading by the name of Allah, so that's Iqra bismi. This is just like when we say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, and then you start your speech. Or that what you are reading is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in this case, both are applicable. So you are reading with the blessing of Allah, and you are reading from the revelation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. Now, he sallallahu alayhi wasallam went back to Khadija, and he was like, Zammiluni, cover me up, cover me up. And then when his fear was over, he asked Khadija radiallahu anha, Oh Khadija, what happened to me? And I have said this maybe a couple of times in khutbahs, and I want to repeat it here, which is the fact that he sallallahu alayhi wasallam, after he was scared, and this was maybe the first time that he gets scared to that extent, the fact that he sallallahu alayhi wasallam has chosen to go back to Khadija and not to anyone else, it really reflects something. What is it? Allahu Akbar. You are not yet married, and you understand this. What if you get married? So remember, when you get married, you need to have someone that you trust the most, inshallah. Exactly. Well, that's part of it, that Khadija was the most trusted one. Not only that, it's not only trustworthiness, it's more about that Khadija radiallahu anha was offering him all the support that he would require. Like, I mean, let's ask ourselves very frankly, when you get scared of something, where do you go to? To the one who can support you the most, right? Someone who has strength, maybe someone who has connection, maybe a police, maybe I mean, if you were a child, then you would go to your mom, to your dad, of course. But if you are like an elder person, you don't go to a lady. You would go to someone who is strong, or has power, or has a status, position, something that really can defend you, right? But then he sallallahu alayhi wasallam has left everyone aside, and he went to Khadija, because he knew that Khadija is going to support him with something that will make him steadfast. And indeed, that's exactly what has happened. Now let's put this scenario. I get so scared, and I go, for example, to let's pick brother Uthman. I go to brother Uthman, And what do usually people say? Oh, don't worry, it will be okay. Inshallah, don't worry. Inshallah, everything will be okay. That's what they say. Well, that's like a word that means nothing. It's an empty word. Everything will be okay. Who told you everything will be okay? there need to be some, foundation to this. You need to convince me that I should not be worried. And Khadija radiallahu anha gave him that answer. The answer that no one else could give him, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, perhaps except her. And she said, "Kalla wallahi la yukhzika Allahu abada." I swear Allah will never disgrace you, O Prophet Muhammad, or O Muhammad. He was not yet prophet to her. And then she told him why. She told him, because you are the first person to help the needy. You are the first person to go worry about your kith and kin. Like connect with your relatives, connect with your family. You are the first person to help people who are asking. You are the first person to go and search for who is in trouble. تعين على نوائب الدهر. That anyone who is in trouble, you are the first person to help. Not only help in food, but also help in other things. And Khadija radiallahu anha made this as a foundation to convince him that, you know what, any person who has those qualities, Allah will never disgrace him. So don't be worried. You're not a person who is just worried about his own worldly life. You're not a person who is just ignoring the rights of others on him. You're actually the very first person who takes care of others. And because of that, you shouldn't be worried, because Allah will take care of this type of person. And she was giving that as an evidence from how history has actually proved for all people that people of qualities are the people who are protected the most. Yes, they may be put in test, but then they are the ones who will be protected by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's what made Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to feel better and better. Now, the hadith continues and says that after that, Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam was expecting the wahi to come again, but the wahi did not come for several days. And he sallallahu alaihi wasallam felt very difficult about it. The hadith says that he sallallahu alaihi wasallam would go to the mountain, and he's about to fall down from the mountain and get hurt because he was like, where am I moving? What is going to happen? Now just imagine, it's like a life change to him when he was told that you are a prophet, and he saw this angel. And now the whole task has been put on his shoulder, but now where's my support? What am I going to do? What is next? So he used to go to this mountain and almost falling, almost hurting himself, or even less, mahalla, killing himself, until Jibreel came to him again. And that's where part of Surat Nun wal Qalam came or was revealed. نون والقلم وما يسطرون ما أنت بنعمة ربك بمجنون وإن لك لأجرا غير ممنون وإنك لعلى خلق عظيم. That you're never been disgraced by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving you His bounties subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you will have the ultimate reward. وَإِنَّ لَكَ لَأَجْرًا غَيْرَ مَمْنُونَ وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. And you have the best of characters and manners. So it was actually giving him that self-confidence. So Jibreel was telling him or reassuring him, you are the messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, after that, as Khadija radiallahu anha was supporting him, she said, let's go to Waraqa ibn Nawfal. Waraqa ibn Nawfal was the cousin, direct cousin of Khadija. Waraqa ibn Nawfal was a Christian, and he accepted Christianity, the true Christianity at that time, or at least what has been remaining from the true Christianity at that time. And she went to Waraqa ibn Nawfal, and Waraqa ibn Nawfal asked him, so what do you see? What is that came to you? And when Prophet Muhammad told him about what exactly he has seen, Waraqa ibn Nawfal said, ذَلِكَ النَّامُوسُ الَّذِي أَتَى لِمُوسَى عَلَيْهِ السَّلَامِ. Namus means this is the angel that came to Musa and all the other prophets. And this is the one that we were expecting to come, and that one of the people will, one of the people in this Arab Peninsula in Mecca will be the messenger. And I didn't know that it would be you, but now that I know, I wish, and I asked Allah that Allah will enable me to stay with you, to help you at the time when you are expelled from Mecca. And Prophet Muhammad said, are they going to expel me from Mecca? He said, of course they will. Because there has never been a messenger who came to his people with a similar message, except that his people were the first one to refuse him and expel him from the city. And that's indeed what happened to Prophet Muhammad when he was expelled to At-Ta'if. No, not Medina, to At-Ta'if. When he actually was expelled to At-Ta'if, it was by force. They forced him to go out. But when he went to Medina, he went by his choice. Yeah. Okay, so Waraqa ibn Nawfal passed away. Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam has gone through those difficult times when the wahi was no more coming as frequently as it was, and it was so much difficult on him. But then Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam, after he showed steadfastness and he was much prepared to carry the remaining of the message, that's when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed Jibreel to go and teach him more and more of that Qur'an. Okay, so that was a good intro to the surah. And the hadith, as I mentioned, was reported in Musnad Imam Ahmad, and a big portion of it was also reported in Sahih al-Bukhari. Okay, so Allah says, اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق, read in the name of your Lord who has created all that exists. خلق الإنسان من علق, he has created man, meaning man and woman, from a clot, which is a piece of that thick coagulated blood. You know what is it called? What is the janeen embryo? Yeah, the embryo goes through different phases, right? In Qur'an, Allah has called them nutfa, and then alaqa, then mudgha. Nutfa, alaqa, mudgha, and then the mudgha becomes mukhallaqa, and then idam, and then lahm, and all that stuff. So it goes through those stages. So the first one is the sperm, and then the second one is this piece of clot, right? And clot is like this blood that is thick blood. It's not, it's like between hard and soft, but it is very thick. So that's piece of clot, and that's alaq. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, خَلَقَ الْإِنسَانَ مِنْ عَلَقٍ. Now this alaq actually was not known in the time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That was not what people have understood of, like what the phases of the embryo are. And then اقرأ وَرَبُّكَ الْأَكْرَمُ, read and your Lord is the most generous. الَّذِي عَلَّمَ بِالْقَلَمِ, who has taught the writing by the pen. عَلَّمَ الْإِنسَانَ مَا لَمْ يَعْلَمْ, he has taught man that which he knew not before. Now in Arabic we say qalam. What is qalam in English? I mean, we always say pen, but qalam in Arabic is everything that you write with. everything that you write with. So qalam could be a pen, could be pencil, could be crayon, could be anything that you write with. Even your finger that you write with, when I was young, I used to write with my finger, dip it in some ink and then just write. Well, yeah, astaghfirullah. So anything you write with becomes your qalam, right? So qalam is what you write with, regardless of what it is, whether we translate it into pen, pencil, crayon, whatever it is. But then here's the message that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked Prophet Muhammad to read, which means to acquire knowledge, right? And that knowledge is the one that comes from Allah. Why do we say this? Because Allah says, "Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq." So read by the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one who created. So all the knowledge that come from Him, and start with the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now here's one thing. People say any knowledge is good. And we say, as Muslims, that any knowledge that gets you closer to Allah is good. But not any type of knowledge. Because some people may say, well, learning about, some of those, Abdullah, can you come forward? And tell me, those who study, for example, musical instruments, what type of knowledge is that? Do you know? You don't know. And I don't know either, so we are the like. So what I mean, what I'm trying to say is that if someone restricts, if someone says that knowledge is anything, then that's not actually accurate from what we see in the Qur'an and the Sunnah. And if someone says that knowledge is only about the religious knowledge, that's not accurate either. Neither this is accurate nor that is accurate. So knowledge is what gets us closer to Allah. And I can give you very concrete examples. So you learn in medicine how your internal body part works, like the blood circulation, your breathing, all that stuff. And you get to realize the significance of Allah's creation in your body. And that gets you closer to Allah. That is a knowledge that gets us closer to Allah. If you learn about Aqidah, and you learn about Allah, His names and His attributes, that gets us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you learn, for example, mechanics, and that mechanics allows you to help people maybe get transportation or to do whatever they need to do, that gets you closer to Allah, because that actually helps you to do what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has asked you to do, right? So in essence here, anything that we learn that gets us closer to Allah is the knowledge that Qur'an has asked us to acquire. Anything that distracts us away from Allah is the knowledge that is haram, that has no value and no virtue, right? And I can give you two extreme examples. Sometimes a person may learn fiqh or aqidah, and that knowledge becomes haram. How could that be possible? Huh? If someone studies aqidah with the intention to refute people, just to say, I am this person and you are that person, you belong to this group and you are this group and you are this group, this type of knowledge is haram. Is haram, even though they called it aqidah, or they call it hadith, or call it jarh and ta'deel, or whatever they call it. That type of knowledge that gets people away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or gets them to practice the haram, is by itself haram. And same thing, if someone, for example, is learning how to do black magic. You know, they call black magic a secret knowledge, right? And it is very expensive if someone wants to know to do that illusion, and maybe not illusion, even further than illusion, things that like the black magic thing. This is not easy, and people would spend their lives to, and all of what is in their pocket to really learn those things. That knowledge is haram. Not only haram, that actually gets them to leave the fold of Islam. So not any knowledge Knowledge that really gets someone closer to Allah is the knowledge that here the surah and any other surah in Qur'an came up with. اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق. The knowledge that is coming from Allah and that gets you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You had a question and you raised your hand. What is it?
So, aren't we created of dirt?
Are we created of dirt?
Aren't we?
Not the dirt that is waste or that is ugly. It means the soil.
We're created of thick wood.
Yeah, but that's the first creation. You didn't come from dirt, akhi. You are my son. I know how. You were not dirt. That was Adam alayhi salam. Only the first creation. Yes, Abdullah.
So, would math, since Quran has a lot of mathematics in it, would math be gaining knowledge?
If that gets you closer to Allah, yes. You know, some people learn math in order to, and that makes them arrogant, because math is such a complicated thing. I know that many people, come here, come closer to me. I would like to ask you a question. Are you good at math? Do you know calculus? Oh, okay. If you knew calculus, then I would say you are one of the most intelligent ones. But maybe you are. I don't know. But anyways, so some people may learn the thing to become, to show off and so that people will recognize them and they became arrogant. I perhaps have said this to you before, but I had a coworker in the past who graduated from MIT. And he got his PhD from there. And he told me that one time he got into a conclusion that no one is smarter than him. And because of that, he thought that he was Lord. And he started to worship himself. But then he got sick. When he got sick, he said, how could I be a Lord and then I get sick? So now he's an atheist. So he no more believes that there is God. But anyways, any knowledge that gets you closer to Allah is the knowledge that is called out in the Qur'an. Whether it is mathematics, medicine, the Sharia knowledge and all that. Yeah. So, علم بالقلم علم الإنسان. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, علم بالقلم, who has taught the writing by the pen. Now, one of the things that we learned from this, from the ulama, is that any knowledge requires writing, or otherwise it will be gone. And I'm looking around me to see who is writing. But I can tell you that nowadays writing could be this, or writing could be going to the page and seeing it, or whatever. So it doesn't have to be a pen. Although, wallahu alam, writing with a pen helps you more than anything else. You know why? Because now you are invoking your memory from what you have heard and from what you have written. Okay. علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم, he has taught man that which he knew not. كلا إن الإنسان ليطغى. Nay, verily man does transgress in disbelief and evil deed. أَرَّآهُ اسْتَغْنَى, because he considers himself self-sufficient. And that's what I was trying to say, that sometimes a person may see himself as something very big just because because of the bounties that Allah has given him, and he would think that wow, he is superior to others, and he is this and that, and because of that superiority, or because of this arrogant feeling, the person will transgress the boundaries of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Have we seen people who might started their lives as students of knowledge, but then later became among the worst people in this world? I mean, I can tell you, there's a person by the name of Abdullah al-Qasimi. He passed away over 150 years ago, about 120 years ago. This Abdullah al-Qasimi was one of the most knowledgeable scholars in Islam in his time. And he was the one who refuted the first people who brought atheism to the Arab Peninsula, or even the Arab world. Abdullah al-Asimi al-Qasimi, something like that, or Najdi. And he was in the land of Saudi Arabia, what is now called Saudi Arabia. At his time, perhaps it had another name. And people recognized him right and left, and he became so famous, so famous. And subhanAllah, before he passed away, he left the fold of Islam. And he said, I regret what I have spent my time doing, and I believe that I am the one who needs to be praised, not Allah. And he became so much jealous to hear any name more than his name, including the name of Allah. Can you imagine that sometimes arrogance can take a person to that level? That he sees nothing in this world except himself. That happens even to those, even sometimes to those who have spent their whole time learning from Qur'an and Sunnah. Because after all, you know what distinguishes Qur'an and Sunnah as a knowledge from all other types of knowledge? That this knowledge cannot work and cannot operate well unless it matches a pure heart. But if it doesn't, then it has no meaning. Actually, it goes against the purpose of it. And that actually, I mean, you could find someone who worship a cow, and he's the most genius person in mathematics, for example, or in computer science. And I don't care. I can take the mathematics from him. I don't care, because those are two different things. But if someone is like the most knowledgeable person in Islam, and his knowledge is not really changing his lifestyle, and it's not impacting his heart, and is not making him the best person, then that knowledge has no value in it. And that's why our ulama have told us, انظر عمن تأخذ العلم فإنما تأخذ دينك. Look from whom you acquire your knowledge, because you are changing, or you are perfecting your religion. So don't ruin your religion by taking your knowledge from someone who is already corrupt. You see the point? And that's very important. I mean, I don't care, and I don't think anyone cares here to take, for example, the science of physics, or maybe medicine, or computer science from any person in the world, right? Those are two different. Religion and the secular knowledge are separated. But when it comes to the religion, the divine religion, then that has to be matched with the pure heart, with something that actually make it sustain, something that actually make it really work the way it should work. So, كلا إن الإنسان ليطغى أن رآه استغنى إن إلى ربك الرجعى. Surely unto your Lord is the return, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, the last thing I want to say here is that this surah, Surat Al-Alaq, is the first surah that was revealed in Qur'an, and also it is the first surah that had sajda in it, right at the end, towards the end. And I want, inshallah, we will not cover this now, but we will cover it next week, inshallah. But I want you to ask yourself three questions. One is, what is the ruling of sajda? When you see sajda in Qur'an, what is the ruling? What should I do? Whether you read it in salah, or you read it without salah, like when you are just reading it. What is the ruling? What do you need to do? Do you have to have wudu to make the sajda? Do you have to face qibla? Do you have to make it, what do you have to say? Do you have to make takbir? Do you have to make salam after it? I mean, all these questions, ask yourself, this is like, what is the ruling? The second question is, where are the sajdat in Qur'an? How many sajdas do we have in Qur'an? And where are they? In which surahs? Right? And the third question is, what do we do in this sajda? What do we recite? What is the dua? Okay, so inshallah, when we have it next week, we will be able to all make the sajda as we read the ayah, and we will know the rulings of it, inshallah. طيب, I want to give 5 minutes to get questions and answers, and then I will conclude, inshallah. So, any question? Yes? So the question is about Waraq ibn Nawfal. So what happened to him? So Waraq ibn Nawfal has believed in Prophet Muhammad ﷺ since that meeting, and he became one of the Sahaba. So we believe that he was a Sahabi, radiyallahu anhu arda. So he passed away as a Muslim. Yeah. Yes.
So, if you're created of a clot of blood, then is your skin also created of blood?
So everything has started from that blood, and then it became the one that you see. So it first starts as a sperm, then a clot of blood, and then a piece of flesh, and then the bones are created, and the whole body of a shape of a human being is shaped. Those are the phases, inshallah.
You're all made of blood.
Originally, but you believe in transformation, don't you? Yes, I mean, you put some powder to your water, and it becomes a nice juice. Yeah. Okay. Yes, Habibi, you have a question.
Does that mean that Waraqah is the first Sahaba?
So Waraqah was among the first Sahabis, of course. The first one ever to believe in Prophet Muhammad was Khadija, radiallahu anha. Yes. Yes, Akhi.
Two questions, please.
Yeah.
The first one, were these swords sent down at one time during the Black Death? Like, I understood that the first 5 and the rest of the swords later. And the same thing for you.
That's absolutely correct. They were not revealed all at the same time. That's true. Yes, Akhi. Yeah. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. You can't imagine how much I miss you. Ay wallah. Jazakallah khair. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think you are the most appropriate person to answer this question. When it comes to writing on PhD thesis, that's the most comfortable degree anybody can get anywhere.
Okay.
And you are in an area of science where your supervisor, who is highly respected, worldwide, who incidentally is not a Muslim, disagrees with you because of your write-up. And you being a Muslim, that is in conflict with what you begin to teach. How do you resolve that kind of conflict?
So if the advisor disagrees with me, and then?
You see, you are answering a scientific question. But your
Advisor?
You know that that interpretation of your advisor can lead to what we consider haram.
Haram.
How do you resolve that?
Like evolution.
Like the evolution, for example?
Evolution theory. About evolution, but it's not true.
Yeah. So let me be very honest about this. My PhD was not in biology. It was in computer science. In particular, it was network security, about traffic shaping, using pentagrams. But I can tell you one thing, which which is a conclusion that I have in my mind, and I have been verifying that with many people around me, especially in the academic world, is that there has never been a scientifically approved theory that conflicts directly with our belief in Qur'an and Sunnah. There are what we call them conjectures, hypotheses, but remember, in science, you start with suggestion, that becomes a conjecture, and then it becomes a hypothesis, and then if it is totally agreed upon, it becomes assertion. I don't know, and I have asked many, that there has been an approved assertion in science, biology or whatever, that conflict with our religion. I don't know of any of that. There are conjectures, yes. There are hypotheses, yes. But nothing like to the level of, okay, this is agreed upon, there's no way you can refute it or maybe disagree with. I have never seen something like this. And I have asked doctors, and I have asked doctors like medical doctors, especially about this transgender thing, about the homosexuality. I have asked many of these, and actually Muslims and non-Muslims, to say, is there anything that really you can use as a background from science that justify things that are against our basic principles and religion? And in fact, even in Christianity and Judaism, they agree with us on those things. So the answer has been always no. Yes, Akhi, go ahead.
When Allah says in the Quran, خَلَقَ كُلُّ دَابَّةٍ مِّن مَاءٍ, this Alaq, min ma'.
No, those are two different ones. So from a drop of water or from water, it came all the creation, or all that is alive. But that means the original creation. The clot is actually the baby creation, which is actually the repetitive creation. The ma is the first creation. Okay, so the Adam, the first animal, and so on. Yes, Akhi. Go ahead. Alex, and we missed your father too. Yes, Akhi.
Maybe you can shed some light. But I was always trying to understand why is the Quran, the sequence of the ayat, why Surat Al-Alaq did not finish first before go to the next surah, why it became a partition?
Yeah, that's a good question, and I should have addressed this right from the beginning. So did you hear the word munajjam? Munajjam? Anyone knows what the word munajjam means? No. Munajjam? Okay, so our ulama have said that نزل القرآن منجما. What does munajjam mean? So munajjam means that it was revealed at different times and actually scattered. So it wasn't really in sequence, right? And then the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam has taught Sahaba all those different pieces. The sequence that we see now in the Mus'haf has come actually later in the time. So he sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he get, for example, some new ayat, he would tell Sahaba, let us put this after that piece. So you could hear, I'll come to you, Habibi. You could hear something that you could imagine that there are ayat from Surat Al-Alaq, and then there is another ayah that came from a different surah, then there a third surah, and then from Al-Alaq again, and so on. So, but however, if we are looking at the surah itself, without looking at all the different ayat, then the ulama have put a sequence to them on which one was revealed before the other. Among the most important ulama who have written about the sequence of surahs was Al-Fayruzabadi. So Fayruzabadi has a book about Quranic science, and he has listed all the surah sequence in Revelation from the first one, Surat Iqra, until the last one. So what was the last one that was revealed in Quran? Al-Ish? Al-Baqarah? No. Huh? No, that's an ayah, not surah. Which surah was the last one revealed in Quran? Nasr! Allahu Akbar! Did you? Astaghfirullah, I'm sorry. So إِذَا جَاءَ نَصْرُ اللَّهِ وَالْفَتْحِ was the last surah revealed in Quran. Huh? No, surah. The last ayah that was revealed in Quran was? Yes, وَاتَّقُوا يَوْمًا تُرْجَعُونَ فِيهِ إِلَى اللَّهِ. That's true. Accurate. Yes. Actually, the last 4 ayat that were revealed in Quran are the ayah in Surat Al-Baqarah, which is وَاتَّقُوا يَوْمًا تُرْجَعُونَ فِيهِ اللَّهِ. Fear that day when you return all to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in Surah Al-Ma'idah, اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم وأتممت عليكم نعمتي ورضيت لكم الإسلام دينا. This is the day when I perfected your religion all the way. And the last ayah in Surah, in Surah Al-Kahf. What is it? فمن كان يرجو لقاء ربه فليعمل عملا صالحا ولا يشرك بعبادة ربه أحدا. طيب, last question, inshallah. Go ahead.
So, how do we know that the Quran right now that we're seeing is the Quran, is the order that...
Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam, before he passed away, he combined some of his Sahaba, including Zayd ibn Thabit and Abdullah ibn Mas'ud and others, and they reviewed the Quran with him sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and they made sure that it was in the right order. And Jibreel alayhi salam came to review and revise the Quran twice with Rasulullah in the last year of his life sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So he reviewed it with Jibreel, and then he transferred that or transitioned that knowledge to the Sahaba who have compiled Quran in their memory. And then in the time of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, they put that all on the sheets, they gathered them together, and they had them in the Mus'haf that we are following right now. So that was agreed upon between all Sahaba. All of the Sahaba have agreed on the sequence and the ayat that we see now and that we all recite. So we should conclude now, right? Unless you are so much desperate, but inshallah I can answer that after we finish here. I'll take this question from the sisters. Please go ahead, sister.
Some people bad-bite, I don't know how to pronounce it, and then why do they do it? Because they know it's a bad thing and they still do it.
The backbiting? So the question is, why would someone backbite when they know that this is wrong and they still do it? Is that the question? Well, see, the 2 reasons for a person to do any mistake or any sin is either of 2. One is the desire. Like they have a wrong desire in their they like to be seen, they like to be heard, they like to make fun of others, they just need to have a fame or whatever. Or it is because they have wrong belief. So they think that this person deserves to be bitten, and they will just continue on doing this. So it's either a wrong belief or a wrong akhlaq and wrong manners. Wallahu a'lam. طيب, جزاكم الله خير. صلى الله على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم.